Well, there's no question that values drive everything. If you don't agree on values and don't align on values, it's not going to work long term. I mean, you just have to have them. This is why certain companies have very difficult time recruiting people. Because let's take a cigarette company, hiring new people is very difficult. They have to pay them more because what? People don't want to work for cigarette companies because their values don't work. So you got to have the values are number one, and then once you got that, you got to have a clear vision of where you want to go, and that's for sure. And then you have various missions to support the vision, and underlying, of course, is the values. The problem, of course, is that this is critical, and you got to do this first. But that does not get you there to predictable success. You still got to follow up, okay? And the very next thing that really have to look at is, if you've got your vision and all of that, is this concept of DIVAL. DIVAL stands for dynamic value, and that means dynamic. By that word means it constantly is changing. You know, something that was valuable today is going to be less valuable if somebody figures out something better that's more valuable. And so this requires an innovative company. Now, innovation is very different than process-oriented. It has a very different way of going about it. It's creative. It has lots of failure built in, and it's very, very different. So people have to have a DIVAL process that's constantly improving. If they don't, they're going to go out of business. Okay, so once you've got DIVAL, then the next level down is you've got to start looking at your team, okay? And your team has to be process-based. And what does that mean? Well, Deming pointed out that the breakdowns, wherever they are, by the way, are going to be breakdowns. He said that 94% of all breakdowns are in the process, not the people. So you want to look at the process. Recently, I was talking with people from Toyota, and they said that Deming was not correct. In their reality, it's 99% of all breakdowns are in the process. So blaming people, looking at people is not the answer. You want to say, let's get together, let's see where the process broke down. How do we fix that process? How do we educate to the new process? So process-based is really, really important. And you're going to want to have control charts in here. You're going to have a customer relationships system of CRM. You're going to have all this process. And of course, continuous improvement comes in when you start dealing with control charts and feedback on customer and client intimacy, because what you want to do is create clients for life. And those are people who repeat or refer or do both. Okay, so then once they have that, this is great, except they got to understand basically network science, the strength of the weak tie. You've got to understand the difference between a hierarchy and a cluster and how you use both and what the dynamic is. And most people do not understand that a hierarchy and a cluster are both networks, and both are very, very different and used in very, very different ways. So network science is the next piece you have to have. And once you have the network science, you really got to get into this whole concept of social media. Now, it used to be that real estate had the highest leverage, because leverage is critical. My son's in the movie business. He's at the top of this game there, and he makes millions and millions and millions of dollars per movie because of the enormous leverage. He makes the movie once, gets seen all over the world. But very few people get to the top of movie making. So, but real estate, lots and lots of people do, and that has enormous leverage, but nothing has as much leverage as social media. And so social media is global, and people get it now. There's a lot of people, there's no barrier to entry, but you've got to be in social media. The reason I do these videos is to have people understand they have no choice. They have to basically understand network science, and they have to know social media. And they have to have a team that's process-oriented with control charts, et cetera, et cetera. All this part is after you've done your values, after you've done your vision, after you've got your mission or missions. This stuff has to be done. If you don't do this stuff, you're not going to have the predictable success that I'd like you to have. Predictable success requires all of the above, okay, and DIVAL, team process, network science, and social media. So if you do all that together, your results will be very predictably positive. I learned from Bucky a long time ago that the bigger the picture, the more accurate your prediction. There's nothing in a caterpillar, if you just study a caterpillar, will ever tell you about scenario butterfly. So my entire life, I am working as much as I can to be a comprehensivist. That is interested in everything, so I can make better choices, better decisions, and have a better perspective. What can I do for you?